Stephen. I'm one of the trustees of London Transport Museum Friends. Hopefully you can hear me. Hello? There you go. If you didn't catch that, my name's Stephen. I'm one of the trustees of London Transport Museum Friends, and I'm really excited to be introducing tonight's talk on the Tube Mapper project. Before I do, I've got a few announcements for you. Our next meeting will be at Acton on the 27th of November with Brian Hardy. He's going to be discussing 125 years of the Paris Metro. There's a few seats left for that, so if you're interested, get in quick. And then we'll be back here in Covent Garden on the 8th of December for Professor Peter White's presentation, Observations on London Public Transport Policy and Performance from the 1930s onwards. It's really a behind the scenes and a bit of looking back at the history of those previously in power and some of the decisions they made. So a really interesting topic to come on that one. A little bit of advance notice. On the 12th of January, we'll be welcoming Roger Torode, who will be presenting Regenerating London Buses 2000 to 2015. You can start booking that in about a week or so's time, so you'll get some info on that. I've got a few tour updates for you as well. There, you may have seen in the magazine visits to the new 02 Bus Museum. There are still spaces available for that, but there's this additional date added, so it's for a different date to the one in the magazine, but you can book that online. And the upcoming steam trip, there is one space left for that if anyone hasn't yet booked, so don't book during this talk, do it afterwards, obviously. All right, on to tonight. We're very pleased to introduce Luke Agbaimoni. He's going to be telling us all about the Tube Mapper project. I've promised him already I won't give away any spoiler alerts. He's going to reveal all. But what I do know is Luke is a South Londoner. He's coming from Lewisham this evening. He's published 3 books so far and an annual calendar. We've discovered we both share a passion for the Docklands Light Railway. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. And Luke has exclusively revealed to us that his favourite station is Bank. I hope I'm allowed to reveal that. Anyway, let's find out a little bit more. Please welcome Luke to the stage.
Hello, can you hear me? I think my mic's working. Yeah, I say Bank to be controversial, because whenever you say Bank as your favourite station, people are like, what? What? It's crazy. Okay, the Tube Mapper project. Let's see if this is working. This is a good test, isn't it? Capturing moments on the London Underground. All right, so we'll see if this has changed since I've done this, because it's always changing. There are 272 underground, 113 overground, 45 Docklands Light Railway, and 39 tram stops. Is that correct? Oh, and 41 Elizabeth Line stations. No more have popped up, have they? The Tube Mapper project aims to capture visual moments at each and every one. But who am I? Why am I involved in it? Why did the Tube Mapper project begin? So, I used to study art in school. I went to Camberwell College of Arts. I did a foundation there, and then I went to University of East London, and I studied graphic design, because I thought, I'm not going to get a career as an artist. And so I worked as a web designer around the Docklands. I used to work, I had a warehouse. I worked in a warehouse next to, it was Warehouse K, next to the Excel Centre. And I worked as a web designer for a hair and beauty retailer. So I was designing, I know loads about makeup, more than I should. And anyway, so I would then basically go, in my lunch break, I would take the camera that we used to take pictures of these beauty products, and I'd go for a walk along Royal Victoria Docks, which is one of my favourite places in London. And you've got these like beautiful views of the city. This actually is a view from the cable cars as you travel, and in my opinion, one of the best places to watch the sunset in London. And during that time, I used to go around taking pictures of the Docklands. And there was this competition being run by Docklands Light Railway. And they asked you to enter your real views of the Docklands. And I was like, this is perfect. So I entered this competition with this photo at East India Station. And I love this photo. My favourite bit of it is these footsteps here. I'm not sure if that was a worker or just some naughty kids, but you know, there's a whole story going on there. But yeah, I entered this competition, and fortunately, I won. And I won first prize, which was an Olympus EP1 pen. it's hard to remember this, mirrorless camera. And this was before mirrorless cameras were a thing. So basically, it's just the cameras that most people buy these days. And it was my first really expensive camera. So in a weird way, you could say that the TFL started me on this journey of the Tube Mapper project. After this, I used to just carry on sort of taking pictures of the Docklands. But then I found out that I was going to have a child, which I freaked out about. And I realized that I wouldn't be able to basically play and take photos of landscapes, sunrises and sunsets, which was my favorite thing to do. So I devised a plan to sort of take pictures on my commute to work and on my journey home. And that's how the Tube Mapper began, because I was just taking pictures on the underground. And soon, basically, it started to pick up on social media, and people were connecting with the pictures that I was sharing. And I was like, oh, this is really a thing. There's lots of people who are interested in the underground. And so that is how the Tube Mapper project began. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share photos of my random encounters on the underground as I've been doing this. I mean, my daughter's 9, so I've been doing this for 9 years. And people always say, have you visited every station? And the answer is, not really, no. I haphazardly go to stations. So even now, we went to Covent Garden. As I sort of go here, I'll maybe take a picture to Covent Garden. Maybe I'll go a few stations further or take a different line, and that's how I do it. Because, you know, we're all busy, but if you do something consistently, you end up building a whole collection, and that's how this has come about. Okay, so let's start with the first topic, reflections on the underground. When it rains, the ground becomes a mirror, reflecting the world above, instantly transforming the landscape before us. The puddles on the ground act like temporary vortexes, giving us a brief glimpse to a unique visual dimension that is just for us. My reflection collection embraces the upside down, dwelling deep in the undiscovered world, searching in water, puddles, and reflective surfaces for a different perspective of the City of London. Okay, so this is at South Kensington. After a snowy day, I mean, we don't have 100 words for snow, so I think we call this slush. Is that right? Yeah. Sludge, maybe, in London, because it would be covered with horrible things. And yeah, I just loved the bright colours, the reflections, and yeah, there was something about it. This is actually quite a good example of my sort of photography. It's got quite a lot of themes in it. I do like to take pictures, including people, but people aren't really necessarily the focal point of my photos. As you can see, you can't even see who this person is, and they're just sort of in the middle. But it also gives scale to my photos as well, so I kind of like that. Westminster. So I love taking pictures of puddles. I'm a puddle photographer. I'm a puddle connoisseur. I should be sponsored by you know, some company with that does protective clothing or something. But I have favourite spots to capture reflections, and this is one of them, which is outside Westminster Station. And what I quite like about this shot is it looks like it's disco lights going into the, well, it is a bit crazy in the underground, isn't it? So it's like going into the disco, and yeah, I just love it. This has changed now. This roundel here is now an African one. It's got African patterns on it. I forgot the name of the artist though, so this was taken a while ago. This is Waterloo. And this is what I mean. This is what I like. Just looking up sometimes as you sort of walk around and sort of travel around the underground, you'll just see interesting things. And this is just outside Waterloo Station. And if you just look up, it had a nice reflection of the building opposite. And it's a very simple shot, but for me, I just love it because it's, yeah, very sort of demonstrative of our architecture. North Wembley. The thing that I like about this photo is that it's quite timeless. One of the things I like most about the London Underground is that the TfL have a design ethos, which means that they try to keep stations true. and they try not to change too much of them. And so sometimes when you look at some photos of the underground, it can be hard to tell what period of time it was taken. And there was something about, I don't know if it's the colours and the train, it just feels timeless to me. And obviously the reflections, because as I said, I love puddles. This is a recent shot. I took this at Amersham Station. And I don't know, there were a few people that said, oh, they love it. It's just really bright colours, basically. And that bridge is quite nice. I quite like the footbridge at Amersham Station. Yeah, and it's just a simple reflection shot at Amersham. And yeah, I just love it. Euston. So this is Euston Station. As I said, I love the colours here. I mean, I think it's just because it's just similar to the British flag. So you've got all those colours sort of playing as you go into the stations. So yeah, red, blue and green, red, white and blue. And it works really well. This is at Wimbledon Station. What I like about this photo is when I took it, a bit later I got a message on Twitter, when Twitter wasn't Elon Twitter, and there was a train driver, and they said, oh, I thought that was you. And they said, I wish I said hello. And basically there's this, I think TfL would never promote my puddle reflection shots because it's basically showing the inconsistencies of their ground. But I could probably point out all the areas that they need to fix because I'm kind of an expert in it. But yeah, this is a nice sort of reflection shot. I love the moody skies here. And yeah, I think it works really well. Ooh, this is also at Wimbledon Station. And this is like just one of those random shots. This is one of my favourite libraries of any train because it's so bright. And it was just reflecting off a coffee shop. And it's just the lines and the colours. And it can show you how little, just a little thing can happen and it can become a great photo. And that's what I like about it. Just a small moment and I just captured it and it looks great. And I love sort of this bit here, the sort of colours of this reflecting in there. One of the things I love about Sloane Square, if I ever show a picture of Sloane Square, the thing that normally follows, if they're train enthusiasts, is someone tells me what's in this place here. Does anyone know? And what river is it? River Western, yeah. So the River Western runs through here. And so that's why I like it, because it's a fact that all train enthusiasts know, but yeah, loads of Londoners just walk under it and they have no idea whatsoever. Underground symmetry. Humans are naturally drawn to symmetry. We are puzzle solvers. Our brains make sense of the world around us by seeking out similarities and by searching for patterns in the labyrinth of the information that we receive. When we look at a symmetrical image, it's like a visual problem has been solved in front of our eyes. The overall effect is that we find the photo soothing and pleasing to view. The picture feels complete. This is probably my favourite symmetrical photo that I've taken. It's at St. Paul's, and it's actually during rush hour. And you can tell it's during rush hour because it's packed. And it tells you that when you sort of function on the underground outside the flow of the moving traffic, stations actually aren't as busy as you think. And you have these moments of quiet in the chaos of the morning rush. And that's what I like about this. And then also, because when a picture becomes really abstract, it starts to sort of take on other qualities. So you can see some eyes there and some sort of weird things. But it ceases just to be a train. And that's why I like this shot, because it's very odd. And it sort of, unfortunately, this sort of set me down a path of hunting for symmetry on the underground, which I do all the time now. With symmetry shots, I generally give myself about 15 minutes to work out if a shot is possible. And then if I think it's going to be a brilliant shot, I will wait up to an hour. I love this at Bank, the mundane travel. In the mornings, with the rush, I I think they're called moving walkways officially, but I call them travelators. I kind of think of the gladiator, you know, the eliminator. And you've got the morning commuters rushing to work, and they put them both going in the same direction in the mornings. And, you know, I love the fact that, you know, a morning journey can become so boring and routine that you see symmetry in it. And I think this picture sort of makes that stand out. What I love is that with all these dark, dull shirts, you've just got one lady with a brighter top. And yeah, I just really love this image because I think it stands out really well. I added this here. See, I basically, before putting together these pictures, I threw in loads of wildcards to myself because I like to catch myself out when I'm doing talks. So this is Cockfosters. Everyone likes saying Cockfosters. Beautiful station, beautiful station. And this is just a shot sort of looking back at the train. Obviously love these lamps and the sort of train going off. I also took a picture. I just remembered I forgot to add a picture at the end of this. I actually brought a picture. I brought a fake cockerel to the station so that I could get a cockerel at Cockfosters station. But I didn't put that in this, which is annoying. Okay, next shot. Goose Street. Now this is so easy to overlook. This is just a small entrance as you walk into Goose Street. You walk through, I think there's a few stations with this. Probably, is there one here? Covent Garden, I'm trying to think. Or is that square? Can't remember. But anyway, you walk through and then you go to where the lifts are, but you've got this beautiful tiled doorway. And it's just beautiful. And so, yeah, it took me a while to get the shot I wanted, but yeah, I think it works really well. I call this little yellow spider, this picture, although you could call it orange. And this is at Surrey Quays Station. And it's just sort of looking down. When I take these shots, I'm not super lucky. The train doesn't stop there. This train is moving. And I'm capturing the train in motion. So I've got a fast shutter speed, and I basically try to take it as it stops centre. And yeah, I love this shot because it looks a bit creepy, really. Hainault. Now, I actually haven't been to Hainault Station. I was on the way home from maybe Epping or something, and then the train driver announced, we're going to stop here for, it's not insulting the driver, I'm trying to just do the thing, we're going to stop here for 5 minutes, and then I was like, challenge accepted. So I stepped out the station, ran out, got a few shots, and I love this shot so much that I haven't gone back to get a better one. I probably could get a sharper one, but it wouldn't have the meaning or feeling that this shot has, which was just a random happen chance, and I got a shot that worked. Yeah, just love it. Okay, so this is at Liverpool Street. Now, I've been told many things about this picture. You've got the kissing trains, obviously. This lady, she's either Doctor Who, I've been told, or there's a detective called Vera. And I've been told that it could be Vera as well. But yeah, everything just came together. And what I like about this is that at Liverpool Station, or Liverpool Street Station, it uses the railway tracks. So it uses part of the railway station. And so this is, even though it's tube map and tube map, you do end up going into the railway stations as well, because they always interact with each other. And so you've just got this. I didn't even know this was happening. I didn't know she was coming. It was just luck of the draw. She walked under, and I got the shot. I mean, I was taking pictures as people walked under, but yeah, and I just love it. I think it's just a great shot. And there's a thing with street photographers, which, if any of you wear a hat, if you ever see a street photographer, someone with a camera, they will hunt you down because they love people with hats. I don't know, they think it's like film noir or something, and they all chase you down. But yeah, it works really well here. London Bridge. So, I want to basically take a bunch of stormtroopers into this station because it feels that that's what needs to happen here. I'm going to make it happen. It's going to happen, trust me. But in the meantime, I always like going to this station, and I was just looking down. This person in blue was walking by and just made this shot, basically. Yeah, I am a big fan of London Bridge Station. It's very interesting, and yeah, all of this sort of space age stuff is quite good. With Canary Wharf, they did actually film Star Wars there. It was Rogue One, and it was the Stormtroopers base. So yeah, it is. It does look like Star Wars officially. Now, whenever I show this picture, this is at Green Park. I always get told it has a very Mondrain feeling to it. You know, the primary colours. I love this because it is just very bright at Green Park, and you know, when you can see red tiles on the wall, there's something nice about the bright reds of the underground. And yeah, I just timed it as the train was moving to get it like this. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favourite colourful shots that I've captured. Tooting Bec. Now, the interesting thing about this station is that I travelled through Tooting Bec many times, and I was probably in the 3rd year of the Tube Mapper project before I realised there are chandeliers on the underground. How amazing is that? You know, Charles Holden designing these masterpieces, walking into these stations, and they look fantastic. And yeah, I just love this station. It's Tooting Bec and Balham. They have lovely entrances like this, and yeah, just you know, you're travelling around there, and you haven't seen it, which I doubt that you guys haven't seen it. But if you haven't, go out and take a look because they look amazing. Yeah, this is some good timing by me. Bank Station again. So this is why earlier I said Bank's one of my favourite stations. It's just got different parts of it. It's got DLR. It's got flat escalators. It's got loads of boring, confused tourists getting lost. It's such a great station. And this is just like a simple shot looking at 2 trains trying to kiss each other. Well, this is just one train. Okay, so with this shot, what I like here at Hammersmith, which feels very kind of Art Deco, even though it's not, these guys are matching. And this is one of those sort of lucky moments that you can kind of have as a photographer. You just get lucky, and this is one of them. And it's just so funny, you know. Hopefully they were actually going on the lines that match their colours, but who knows? All right. I put this in because I just am a fan of the Bakerloo line, and I like the sort of 1972 stock. Whenever I look at it, I say "groovy baby." It makes me feel, I don't know, it has that feel to it. It's a very, you know, they wouldn't design it like this anymore. And yeah, I just have I have great respect for these trains. I mean, you know, they're basically museums. You know, you're travelling on a museum. When you sit on them, the person next to you leaps up in the air, you know, and there's always a big puff of dust. It's brilliant. It's what a lovely train. Joking aside, they are actually very comfortable to sit on. Oh, I have a game that I play. I have many symmetry games. This is one of them. So there are a number of stations where both doors open to passengers can get off at either platform. And what I do is I try to catch a train in the middle as the doors open. At some stations, this is easier to do than others. And it's just a game I've been playing. There's only 5 official stations where this happened, and then at the end, when I get to the end of them, I'll tell you there are caveats. There's always caveats, isn't there? So, Stratford, it happens. This is at Arnos Grove. This is Canary Wharf, DLR. This is the one that's probably most used as a temporary bridge. I think people will wait for this train to come, because it comes frequent enough that people just wait for it to come rather than going down and up and then they cross. And I know that because I used to commute this way and we all waited. Morden. This looks like a deranged bunny. Look, it's got like weird ears. And Barking. This was the hardest to get because that train in the back isn't as frequent, and these doors open for, I don't know, maybe a few seconds. So that was lucky. There are some others. There's Golders Green and there's White City. But on White City and Golders Green, there's a technical reason which I actually don't know, someone will know. But the way that the doors happen, one door will open, then it will close, and the other door will open. And so you can't get this shot at those stations. And then also, technically, Tower Gateway, because at Tower Gateway, it's only one platform, and so it opens double doors, but you can't get a train. You can get a person in the middle, but it's not the same. Shadows. Shadows can have a dramatic impact to the overall visual composition of an image, helping to convey depth and 3 dimensions. Here's a few of my favourite shadowy encounters on the London Underground. Shadowy sounds creepy, but these aren't creepy. Let's see. 9 Elms. So when Battersea Power Station opened, Battersea Power Station, I was actually a bigger fan of 9 Elms Station. And there's lots about it. It's just a very tidy, solid station. But you have this feature. If you get there at the right time, it projects the roundel onto the floor. I was told that this is actually on purpose and it's not just a mistake, but who knows? People like to pretend these things. This is my friend Andrea. She'll feature in a few photos. And in another photo, I brought her back and got her to pretend to be the blue line in the middle, which I thought was good fun. This also happens at Victoria. So I can't. What's the exit? Cardinal Place? Is that what it's called? Yeah. So the more recent place. Well, my brain's working. The fact that I remembered the name of that exit. That's good. We're going to do well tonight. And yeah, I just love it. But this has got 3 roundels. Lots of roundels happening here, which is good. Cyprus. So at Cyprus Station, which is identical to Beckton Park Station, pretty much. At the correct time of day, if you get there, you get these lovely geometric lines shining through the architecture. And yeah, I just think it looks fantastic. And I recently, I do yearly calendars, and I wanted to get a photo of the new B23 DLR train in. And so it was a sunny day. I didn't know where else to go, because the train is going from Stratford to Beckton at the moment. That's the only route that it runs. So I went here, and I got the new Beckton. I got the train at Beckton Park, which looks identical, but it's not. It's slightly different. But yeah, it's. I actually, when I originally saw the pictures of these new trains, I was like, I don't know, but they are very handsome trains. They actually are very photogenic, and whenever I take pictures of them, people always say they remind them of the Paris trains. Okay, this is just at Royal Albert, and it's just of the shadow on the roundel. I just like it. Very, very nice and dramatic. And this shot is at Crystal Palace, and I included it just because Crystal Palace is a stonking good station. It's architecturally beautiful. Just go and visit it, and you'll see what I mean. Walk around. It's just an astonishing station, and it's just really nice the way that the light falls on all of the sort of pillars and platform signs and stuff. It's a beautiful station. Lines of light. The train is approaching at last. The distant howling grows closer, and unnatural winds begin to rush down the platform. Signs of arrival are upon us, and then you see it. Lines of light appear on the track, painted by invisible hands, closely followed by a pair of bright eyes, eager and excited to arrive at the station. Yeah, a bit hyperbolic, but yes, it's very exciting when trains are arriving. There's something about it, isn't there? The eagerness of that train arriving at the platform. One of the few underground sections of the DLR. This is at Island Garden Station. Whenever I take these shots, please note, my feet are firmly behind the yellow line. I'm not doing any ridiculous thing. And annoyingly, I always post this online because I do have quite a few followers, and I don't want them trying to do silly things on the underground. No flash photography, nothing weird. But yeah, I love this. I love Island Gardens. It's a good station. what I like about this is it kind of shows how, you know, trains and people are in tunnels, coming out of their respective tunnels. And yeah, I just like the darkness on the right there. Love it. Kennington. I used to think this was the Kennington Loop part, but I don't think it is. This is just the turning circle, isn't it? But yeah, they all say it's haunted in the Kennington Loop because there was an accident there. And what I like about this photo is I timed it just as this light was hitting here. So it looks a bit like a ghost train and very dramatic. I got a shot a bit later when the whole front's lit and it has a completely different feel. This is at Westminster. This light sort of shining on this, and so it sort of paints the side of the train, making it dramatic. This would be good to do as a painting, actually. One day I'll probably do it. I can actually paint. It's in a weird way. I don't actually necessarily see myself as a photographer. Photography is a medium that I use to create art, and so it just happens so. But I would paint this shot because I love it. I think it's very dramatic. Kensal Green. Kensal Green, if you've never been, please go. Because when you stand on a platform, you've got these long tunnels approaching the station. And you can see the trains arriving. When you take a picture, it looks like the train is thinking. It's got these thought bubbles. I mean, I like this shot so much that it became the front cover of my third book. Yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely view. Okay, so on the overground, Windrush line, I have to remember all these names, Rotherhithe and Surrey Quays and Canada Water, you can see the next platforms. So I'm standing at Rotherhithe Station, and this is Canada Water Station. And I just love that you can see through to the next platform. I don't know what the distance is, actually, so I should actually find that out. But it really isn't that far. Oh, yeah. So this is at Wapping. What I love about this is that in the middle of the underground, you're on the London Underground, and then you've got the Brunel Tunnel, just on the underground. This great historic piece of history, which people just travel through and don't even realise that, you know, this is well, there's caveats, as usual, but it's the first underground tunnel. And, I mean, underwater tunnel. And the fact that this exists there and it's been incorporated into our transport system is amazing. Waiting for trains. The hunt for drama and technicality led to me building the Waiting for Trains collection. I love capturing a moment of the anticipation of the arrival of a train. The results, I think, are very pleasing. Dramatic colours and light are possible even in the middle of the day. So this is at West Ham. I have very steady hands. I can take a photo and capture movement and keep my hands still. However, I can't walk with a pint of beer in my hands because that's a different motion, you know. But yeah, I love this shot. Unfortunately, in this day and age, everyone's looking at their phones, which is annoying, but it's actually quite good at capturing people staying still. Again, this is my favourite swoosh I've captured. This is at Tower Hill Station. I just like the curve of the track. South Kensington. Very nice puddles at South Kensington. I can lay testament to. And yeah, this is one of my favourite sort of. I don't know what I'd call it, an electric line of whooshing. It's just lovely. I love this shot. It was actually early in the morning on sort of my commute to work, and I captured that. And it's, yeah, a lovely shot. Yeah, so this is at Brockley. This is Safi. Safi the Brockley cat. And Safi is just a local cat that hangs around. Not a station cat, but likes to go in the station and meow to people. When I saw this cat, obviously I freaked out. I was like, why is there a cat at this station? Is it okay? And you quickly realised it was. And then I got this shot of the cat just waiting. It's so random to have a cat without... I mean, you see quite a lot of cats on the underground now. There's lots of Instagrammers that walk around with cats that are like, you know, celebrities. And yeah, seriously, on the underground there's tons of them. I've got at least 4 pictures of cats on the underground with leads on. But, yeah, this is a non-lead cat. This cat just roams around on the underground on her own. There's an interesting story behind this picture. So this picture, when Twitter wasn't Elon Twitter, there used to be a competition on there, and it was called Wex Monday, and people would enter with their photos. And I took this photo, and it actually won first prize. I don't know if you won anything. It was just like, you win an online competition. And there was loads of people that followed it. And the wife of this man followed that competition, and she got in touch with me, and she was like, it's amazing, you got a picture of my husband. It's like, and I was like, oh, it's so fantastic. Would you like a copy of this photo? And she's like, oh yeah. And I sent her a copy, and yeah, and all was good. But then maybe, I think it was a few months later, I got a message from another woman saying, oh, you've got a photo of my husband. It's a true story. And I don't know, I didn't know what to say about that, so I kind of left it. Okay, so this is a great example of what I mean when I say the underground is timeless. This is at Denmark Hill, which isn't underground, but you know what I mean. And I just like how timeless this is, even though these people are using phones in the background. But yeah, I love this shot. It just has a very, very certain feel to it. Yeah, and there you go, trilby hats, or hats, they always add to it. Yeah, this is at Leicester Square. I love this shot. It looks like a painting, doesn't it? It's hard to capture people waiting outside. There's something about trains, because people don't know where the doors are going to stop. They stand still. Whereas if it's a bus, they all just walk to the bus stop. You can see I've taken lots of photos, and I know this. But yeah, this just happened to work in my favour. It was the front cover for, I think, one of my calendars, maybe 2024. I can't remember now. But yeah, I love this photo. It's very dramatic. Baker Street. Okay, so this Baker Street would be classed as probably one of... If you ask people what their favourite station is, Baker Street is top of the list. It's the top 3. And it's a beautiful station, undoubtedly. What I like about this, I waited 5 minutes for this shot. I call this shot in the spotlight. And if you ever go to Baker Street, just watch. The architecture leads people to stand in these positions. It's natural. They do it without thinking. And you don't need to wait. Next time you go to Baker Street, just stand there. It's a visual phenomenon. They just go like this, and they stood in the light. It's brilliant. Something very space age about this photo. I just like the whooshing on the line. Not really. It's not technical. It's just, yeah, I just love it. I love the composition and how it sort of come together. It's at Whitechapel. Okay, so yeah, obviously there's a story behind this. There is, so I'm friends with loads of people online, and there's a costume player. It's people who like to dress up as their favourite superheroes or comic book characters. And this guy was going to Comic-Con, so they normally go to Custom House, and he said, oh, I'm going through to meet up with a load of other Spider-Men. And I was like, can I join you? And so I joined him on his journey. I knew him for years before I actually saw his face. I just saw him as Spider-Man. And I met up with him, and he posed for this shot at Sloane Square. This is where I met him. And then we went on a train, and I'm not lying, it was the most bizarre and fabulous experience I've ever had on the Underground. He was this living celebrity. He was getting hugs and cuddles by kids, high fives, people going, go Spidey. It was the most ridiculous thing. But the funniest thing was when a tourist came up and asked him for directions. Which I have a photo of, but I haven't got it here for some reason, I don't know why. But yeah, it was the funniest thing, the most ridiculous thing. And it was so much fun. Yeah. What I like about London, like, you know, someone can be dressed as Spider-Man and that's just normal. Underground dance. I love how the leading lines of a tunnel enhance the presence of a lone commuter walking down the middle of a pathway, or how the stance or posture of a person can mirror aspects of their surroundings, creating a visual agreement between them and the structure around them. I wanted to explore this concept, so I enlisted dancers and gymnasts, people with great control of their form and balance, to help me explore the shapes of the London Underground. Yeah, so this is Piccadilly Circus. I love the sort of crisscross patterns of the tiles. And so, obviously, this was just used to complete that shape. And I think what started the sort of play of the sort of form of people on the Underground is my love of people sort of flowing in architecture, and how, you know, just someone walking along can complete the shape or the form of the architecture, because it's leading you somewhere. It leads you to do something. Poplar. Interestingly, I mean, this picture, yeah, two people jump in, and I love it. Interestingly, this tunnel was very popular in the 90s. It's in a... who filmed this? Daniel Bedingfield sung a song in here. Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac, was filmed in here. They shot Torchwood in here. And the Pet Shop Boys have a video in this tunnel. This tunnel was very, very popular. But yeah, only in the 90s for some reason. Yeah, makes my back hurt looking at this shot. Can tell you that. But yeah, the King Cross St Pancras, this is just outside the station entrance mirror tunnel, and it was trying to replicate that shape sort of in the background, which was really good. Yeah, as I said, I couldn't do that. Okay. There's a little secret at Pimlico Station. If you go at Pimlico Station and find a floor roundel and say any station 3 times, you'll be teleported there instantly. And that's what this picture is trying to depict. Andrea being teleported to a random station. This is the Great Head Shield. This is what I love about the London Underground. It's a museum. You walk around, look, there's a little plaque there with information about how it was built and dug and stuff. Most of the commuters are just walking like this, ignoring. But every now and again, you'll see people stop and they'll like take note of all of the, you know, things to enjoy. We were actually, this is gymnasts, and she was on her way. We were doing a shoot in London. We actually weren't in the Underground, but she just happened to have these red leggings on, and she just quickly done that. It was a snapshot, and it just looked really good. The colours just worked really well with it. Oh yeah, this is recent. This is at Barbican, and yeah, what Andrea, she was I don't know, she was in a funny mood this day. But we took this photo, and we were both in hysterics because she was quite angry with me because I think I was late or something that day. And I've always loved the arch of this station. I always liked the colour palette of this station. There's some interesting history about the tiles, but I'll get it wrong, so I'm not going to go into it. Oh, okay. So I have a little game that I play, especially on the Docklands Light Railway, which is the canopy covers look like angel wings. And I've got Andrea posing at a number of stations. So at Lewisham, at Beckton, at Prince Regent DLR station, and this isn't a DLR station, but Edmonton Green. But the beauty of Edmonton Green bus station is that she gets a halo on her head. Surely they did this on purpose. Surely they did. Okay, trams. It's easy to overlook the Croydon trams, which, spelling mistake. Also, which is also on the tube map. Here are some photos at a variety of locations on the line. This is like warp speed at Church Street. This is just the tram zooming away. I love how it sort of interacts with the Yeah, I like Church Street and the other station next to it. I forgot that now, it's gone out of my mind. But I like the fact that you've got people just in town walking across the road behind. Unfortunately for the tram drivers, you've also got all the delivery bikes literally behind the tram as it's moving, which must be annoying. But yeah, I like the hustle and bustle of it all. And yeah, this is just the tram zooming off. This is at Bedderton Lane. This is a great example of how puddle shots can make something look very interesting. And I just like the shape of the trees here. I was very pleased when I captured this. It was after a storm, so the light in the sky was really weird. But yeah, I really loved the shot. Wellesley Road. This is just night shot, so I'm waiting for the tram. As I said, it's not getting these shots of trams is harder than trains because people don't stand as still as they do on platforms. But this was one of the shots that I did pull off, and so yeah, very pleased. Love the colours, so vibrant. So this is one of my lucky shots. I have a few lucky shots. Now I had a new lens, and basically, you can't really see here, but this is it a station house? I'm trying to think what you call it. It's an old station house, and I was waiting for some trams to come under so I could get them sort of shaded in the light under the tunnel. But just as I was lining up the shot, this brilliant white cat walked. Annoyingly, my shot starts here because as it was walking through here, I was horrified. Like this, ah! But then obviously the tram driver slowed down, and then everything was cool, and so I calmed down. But it was a bit worrying for a few seconds there. But yeah, the cat was totally unbothered, expert railway crosser, and just got across, didn't care. And this is just sunset at Therapia Lane. And yeah, I like this spot because it lights up the sun hits the rails really nice here. Curves. Oh, interesting. If you could choose not to use lifts or escalators when entering a tube station, you may be rewarded with a spiral staircase. These can vary drastically in height, with TfL claiming some to be as tall as 15 stories. This is Borough. Now this shot is half lucky. And when I mean half lucky, I actually know this person. We were taking some pictures of socks. I think she had like a bit like this, so some Transport for London socks. I think I got Bakerloo ones on. But she had some socks. I was taking pictures of some socks. And then we were walking out the station up this, and she went ahead of me, and I took the picture. So it wasn't posed, but I can't say it was completely lucky either. Bond Street. Now this is one of my favourite tunnels on the whole of the underground network. I think it's stunning. It's quite long. It's so long. It's long enough that there's a bench in the middle, so you can have a sit down. But yeah, it's a lovely. I absolutely enjoy walking through here. Any shot looks great in this tunnel, and yeah, I just love it. Goose Street. I can't even remember how tall these stairs are. I don't think they're massive. But yeah, I like the colour here, and you can see it is an exhausting walk up. Oh, do you know what's interesting? I used to work around Gloucester Road, and I was taking a picture of the spiral staircase there, and there were people during their lunch break would run up and down those spiral staircases as exercise. It's amazing and crazy. This is at Westminster, and I just like the curve of the track. What I never paid attention to were these lights under here before, and so that's what I like about this shot. I just never noticed that, and obviously I like the sort of reflections of the guy here as the train's coming in. Yeah, well, again, one of my favourite shots. It's amazing when you zoom into something, how it can become abstract. And this is just looking at the, I don't even know what you'd call this, but it's the architecture of the DLR at Canary Wharf. And you've just got a train passing it. Oh, it's quite good seeing this big. I've never noticed this lady in there. That's cool. See, even I see new things in my photos. I've never noticed that before. But yeah, one of my favourite photos just because of how weird it is. But most people recognise where it is. I love this because it's quite a unique place on the underground. This is at Bow Road. I was going to say Mile End for some reason. Similar colours at Mile End, but not the same. You've got these hexagonal pillars, which look fantastic. And this was the front cover of last year's calendar that I made. And yeah, I love it. It's just a really unique looking part. I think it's a cut and cover station. So at this end, it's you can sort of see daylight. Tunnel vision. Wandering through the endless passageways and tunnels is like exploring a vast museum celebrating the old and new. You encounter modern designs along with antique features originating from the 1860s. It has the oldest section of underground railway in the world. This is one of my favourite printed photos. Printed, it looks fantastic. And what I like most about it is how the sort of flare of the coat matches the sort of flare of the edges of the distortion of the picture. And I just like the lines. I never had appreciation for tiling until I started doing this project. This is one of my escalator shots. I like actually taking photos on moving escalators. I've got this technique of sort of resting and taking a photo as it's moving. It's pretty hard to do, and you need luck. But when it works, it looks fantastic. This is just I call this like a traditional underground shot, looking down. Love the uplighters. This is at Collier's Wood. Great station, black and white, looks a bit timeless, although her clothes sort of date it a bit. Hatton Cross, very kooky colours station, lovely station. Probably most people don't go there because there's no reason to if you're, but if you do go there, I hope I didn't offend someone. But yeah, people don't go. No one goes there. But yeah, it's a lovely. Unless you're trying to get a cheaper fare, because there's a little trick that you can do to get a cheaper fare. But that's another story. But yeah, Haddon Cross, lovely station, love the colours, orange and green, brilliant. I put this in because this is another place that loads of people don't necessarily know. This is King's Cross St Pancras, but it's sort of next to St Pancras station, and it's just this lovely brick entrance, and it's just really beautiful. And whenever I post it from now and again, whenever I post it, there's so many people who frequently travel through King's Cross, and they've never ever seen this entrance. Again, this is London Bridge. This is where I'm going to have Darth Vader there, basically. It's going to happen. We're going to arrange it. It's going to happen. Battersea Power Station. I have no idea why I've only got one station up there. That's a mistake. But yeah, this is looking down from the lift as you go up. And yeah, I love the lines of the station. It's a very solid, beautiful architecture in the station. It's great. Trilby Hat, example again, under the Great Head Shield, and it just looks like Dick Tracy is about to solve some crime. Gants Hill, what can we say? Lovely station. Haven't been there. Just get out the platform, take it in. Beautiful station, and it's just unique on the underground. A marvel to see, and yeah, it puts a great big smile on my face. I need to go again because I've got an idea of a unique photo here that no one has. You know what? It makes me sad that the original, I think at the entrance of Tottenham Court Road, you had some really crazy tiles, and they got rid of them all. I mean, these have been left, but I love the sort of crazy tiles in the entrance. But yeah, this is what's sort of left at Tottenham Court Road. Ah, okay. Elizabeth Lie. Crossrail. I haven't called it Crossrail in a long time. Winner of the 2024 Reba Sterling Prize, celebrating the UK's best architecture. Crossrail is a 73-mile, well, you guys all know this. It was later rebranded as the Elizabeth Line in honour of Queen Elizabeth II, and it's stuck. And so there's loads of people who only call it Crossrail, but I think they lost that battle. It's the Elizabeth Line now. Or the Elizabeth Line, if we want to be precise. I like the vast tunnels. The thing about it's a bit strange. The Elizabeth line is it's unlike our usual architecture because it's very polished. It's almost understated and it's elegant. It's not showy. It is showy, but not in a way that's garish. And so I always enjoy travelling on the Elizabeth line. This is good mayors. This is one of my random reflection shots. I've made good mayors look good. And yeah, it just looks very futuristic, and I like this station. Again, this is Liverpool Street. They have beautiful escalators on the Elizabeth line, and look at all these features. This is what I mean. They're not showy. It's not like bright colours, but look, everything is precise. Everything is in the right place. We don't normally make architecture like this, and so that's why it was such a great delight when it opened. Just sort of wandering around and delighted in the design. And they have all these this is Tottenham Court Road. You have all these little features to discover as you go through the stations. They didn't need to do this, but they did. And it makes me happy that something like this was made, and it's very useful. Again, there's something about this that reminds me of the Star Trek badge. Very futuristic. Again, very understated and lovely. Some dancers. This is at Canary Wharf. This is a tunnel just outside Canary Wharf. The entrance to Canary Wharf Elizabeth station, and it's called something Plaza Bridge. It's gone up my mind, but the makeover was by an artist called Elizabeth Walla Walla, and yeah, it's just these lovely colours. And so yeah, I got some dancers to pose in there. This is Paddington. Some people see googly eyes. I see TARDIS or exterminate. That was only a small toy. Visual discoveries. Here's a few interesting visual discoveries. I'm annoyed that I forgot to add one, so I'm going to say it before I show. At Kew Gardens, you've got Kew Gardens has the only sort of platform level pub outside the station, and so you can get a shot of someone holding a glass of wine, and you can see the platform. And I've got a photo of that, and I forgot to add it here, so I'm annoyed. But anyway, I've said it now. Outside Embankment Station, if you walk outside and look back, the London Eye arches nicely over the top of the roundel. And this is what it looks like at night. Here's one that everyone will know, I think, next. Piccadilly Circus. You walk down to the end of the platform, and you can see onto both platforms. It's cool. It's quite cool. This is at Boston Manor. Because it's in the flight path, you can kind of get an overground, underground thing going on there. I was so lucky with the British Airline plane. It's really good. Waterloo. So many people have not noticed that this is a keyboard pattern. And whenever I post this, people are like, no, I go there every day. There's no way that there's keyboard. And it's like, it's because these aren't, it's not laid out as a proper piano. So that's why. It's by an artist called Christopher Tippins who done this. And I remember posting it. He was like, yes, someone's embracing my design at last. Talking about overground, underground, as I did earlier, I've gone on a little mission to hunt overground. Sorry, I know I'm getting that earworm in. I apologise for that. So the obvious overground, underground is at Canning Town, where you get the DLR over the underground. But I found a lovely spot at the end of North Acton station where you can watch the overground over the underground. That's from the end of the platform at North Acton. But I also found a place at East Putney where you can get the underground over the railway. So we're not quite there yet, but we're almost there. But At West Hampstead Station, we've got the underground over the overground. And I know people are going to say Whitechapel. Yes, at Whitechapel, the underground goes over the overground, but you cannot see it. Or you can see a sliver of it now. So unfortunately, I missed my chance to capture that photo. Oh, and there's another place at South Kenton Station. So at South Kenton, you've got the underground and overground as well. Yeah, it's been quite fun to hunt these locations down. A lot of people think I'm crazy. I probably am, but yeah, it's very pleasurable getting these sort of these sort of wrong images. Impossible shots. Okay, sometimes when I'm at a location, I can visualize a shot that is very unlikely to happen. But I want to bring this image to life. So I'll take a composite photo, combining a number of images to make it come to life, because it won't ever happen in real life. I call this major traffic. This is at Brockley. I was waiting for a friend actually, and I realised I'd taken a shot at each platform, of a train on each rail, each line, and then one came on the top. Someone said I should have waited for one to come this way, but I think that would have been a bit crazy. It would have looked like the trains are going to crash or something. So I thought that, as ridiculous as that looked, that would be more realistic than if there was another train coming in there. Clapham Common. Now, this isn't impossible, just very unlikely. I've waited at this platform for quite a long time, and because it's a slimline platform, the problem is, so this departing train would have to be empty for this shot to work, because you'd get loads of people coming off the train, and then, yeah, it's just so unlikely to get this shot, and then also to have people up there as well, just very unlikely. I just call this roller coaster fun. And this is at Poplar. And yeah, I just like the craziness of the tracks at Poplar Station. It just looks like, and it's just fun. And obviously, you know, you've got people sat in the front pretending to drive the trains anyway. So it is a bit like a roller coaster. Okay, tight fit. So these are visually explaining why we call it the tube. Now, to me that looks like 10 centimetres, but you know, I love this shot. Yeah, it's just, this is at Southgate. I was talking to someone earlier who's from, yeah, there you go, from Southgate, and this is a lovely spot where you can view trains sort of coming out the tunnel. This, very similar, this is at Hendon Central, and you can get the trains sort of coming from either of these holes, and it's great. Again, it looks like ridiculously tight and doesn't feel like they're going to fit, but they do. This is from East Finchley. I like this as sort of peeping out like a little creature burrowing out of the tunnel. Morden. So you can view this from the end of the platform. So they go in. Is it technically a siding? I don't know. I don't know the technical terms for these things. This is where they sort of go and sort of then come back out again. Again, like animals poking out of tunnels. I like this shot. This is at Hampstead. This is just, yeah, I like this. It always makes me feel like they're wearing a headdress when they sort of go through like this. And this is at White City. Train poking out the tunnel there. Okay, I'm going to end this with some puns. Yeah, just because I like very bad jokes. So let's go through them all. Victoria. Paddington. James Bond Street. Barbican. Stormtuber. Tooting Beck. I don't know what to call this, but it's just a very, very funny picture. Shooting down the train, shooting down the line. Nunhead, I know it's not underground, but there you go. High Barnet. This was incredibly fun to do, I can tell you that. Train set and match. Interestingly, that this is Southfields, not Wimbledon, because Southfields is more convenient to walk to Wimbledon station. So I always found that confusing. Broccoli. My daughter always says it looks like she's been stabbed in the stomach. But yeah, maybe I should do it again. But if I went it from the other side, that also would look a bit dodgy. So. And yeah, so that's pretty much the end of that. I make calendars. So this is a picture of the calendar, which I sell online at tubemapper.com. I'm very proud of this shot. This is a view from Cannons Park, and you can see the train sort of travelling under the arch of Wembley Station. This was a lucky shot of just a random. I was just taking a shot down there, and a hat guy just happened to walk through. Very lucky shot. So, and then I also sell books again, tubemapper.com, or you can just search for it on Amazon or something. And I have like 3 books that are available to purchase. But yeah, that's my talk, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Luke. We've got time for a few questions if anyone has one. Want to raise your hand and hold on for the microphone to get to you.
Hi. Hello?
I can hear you anyway,
Hi,
but
thank you so much. I'm from Seattle, and I just was lucky enough to be in London for your talk. So thank you so much for being here and doing this. I'm wondering how often, if ever, do you get a shot that you discover something that you just weren't looking for at all after you develop it, after you take it? It wasn't really part of your intention at all.
So the picture that you saw of the guy shooting the gun at the train is kind of like that. So I was taking a picture of something else, and then I was leaving the station and I was looking through my pictures, and then I saw that shot, and I was like, oh, I need to go back. So I'm not always aware of the photos that I take. And also, normally, when I travel on the underground, I do it very haphazard. There's no organisation on my route because I'm so limited on my time. Sometimes I'll have time, sometimes I have to do family stuff, so time is short. But I'll go out to take a shot of something, and usually what happens is, on my way home, something random will happen. I'll take a snap of that, and it will be that shot. That will be the best shot of what I do. Okay.
Got another question down here.
First of all, thanks very much for doing this. My question's a bit rather technical. I'm just curious about how you deal with so many night shots, and whether you have to deal with a lot of grain in your shots or a high ISO, or just how you deal with the contrast of for example, a bright light shining through a tunnel, contrast with how dark the tunnel actually is without the light.
Yeah, so practice. And sort of, I always say that modern cameras they've got a high dynamic range, so they can see the brights and the darks quite well. So with Photoshop, you can balance it out a little bit. And so you try to make sure that you can't really you don't want to blow it out too much, so you don't want it too bright. So sometimes you'll make the shot darker in order to so you can then bring up the dark tones at the end. Yeah, it's kind of like, you kind of have to play around a bit. I don't mind grain in shots. Old cameras used to take, I'm older than I look, I'm 45. Old cameras used to take grainy photos, and I love a bit of grain. It adds a bit of character to a shot. When you start off, you're all about trying to get these perfectly sharp shots. Sometimes the best shots are actually quite blurry. So you just take the shot. If it has the right mood, don't really worry too much about ISO and stuff. Try to capture the photo. If it works, then you can see if it does. If it doesn't, then you play around a bit until you get to a point where you're comfortable. A lot of my shots, as I said, are grainy, but you just don't notice because they're quite contrasted. So it's not something that you focus on. You just focus on what you're looking at.
Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, just one thing.
If we just hold for the microphone, if you don't mind, just so that people online can hear you.
Can you hear me from down there?
We won't hear you online.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. What I was going to say is you were down tunnels a lot in your life, and it was nice to see you getting out in the daylight. That must be quite refreshing for you. But seriously, in the early days, did anybody stop you in the underground?
Do you know what? Not really, and there's a couple of reasons. I mean, you are allowed to take photos randomly when you're out and about, but I kind of talk to the staff. So I'll go and talk to I tell people what I'm doing, that I'm taking pictures, and I wear a hat. I normally have this on. It's almost like a uniform. I've got a moquette jacket.
Well,
So
probably now they don't say anything to you because you're so well known.
yeah, but the thing is, I always make sure I'm friendly. I stand out and I approach everyone that I can, so they know that I'm doing. You know, these workers on the underground, a lot of them have very hard days, and you don't know who they've interacted with before they talk to you. So even though sometimes you may be in the right to do what you're doing, you should still you have to then show respect to the staff and the people that work there as well. So it's kind of like, you know, it's to and fro, and so I make sure that I'm respectful in what I'm doing. Ooh.
Did you ever work with film, or have you only ever done digital?
Again, I'm 45, so because I know it sounds silly saying it, but if you're 45, all cameras were film cameras. So we grew up with film cameras. I mean, it's cool now to use film cameras, but it was a right pain in the bottom when we were older. And you know, you'd go to the supermarket, and then you'd order the off license and drop it off, and then collect it a week later. I like film cameras. I've never been a fan of developing. My wife did a photography course, so she loved it. But like mixing with the chemicals and waiting hours to develop it, I'm far too picky to do that. Even when I do my prints, I don't print my own work. I will send it to a printer and then be okay with it. Because if I'm printing it, I'm going to do 100 copies before I'm happy with it. But yeah, I like digital because I have a graphic design background, so I can play with a photo very well digitally, and it's instant. So yeah.
That's what I thought. It's, you know, you wouldn't know if you'd made necessarily a good shot until you'd got it a week later.
Yeah, exactly. It's a completely different experience with a camera using digital and film. Cool.
Any final questions? No? Okay. Just want to say a huge thank you to Luke for joining us today for a really, really informative presentation. I know what's going on my Christmas stocking list, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you take a picture of me?